Why does turning 65 make your tax return worth more money automatically without you doing anything different? It sounds like a strange question. Birthdays don't usually come with tax refunds attached, but this one does, and most Canadians never claim the full value of what actually changes. There's a credit worth over $1,300 that only unlocks the year you turn 65. Most people don't even know it exists, let alone claim it. Today, we're walking through exactly what changes on your tax return at 65. 5 specific things, one worked example showing the real combined total for one Ontario retiree, and one trick near the end that most Canadians have genuinely never heard of. Here's the easiest one, and it happens automatically the year you turn 65. No forms, no application, just one line on your tax return that wasn't available to you the year before. It's called the age amount. On the return you file for the 2025 tax year, it lets you claim up to $9,028, a federal tax reduction of up to $1,354, plus your province's own version on top. In Ontario, that's an extra $300, bringing the combined total past $1,600. It phases out once your net income crosses $45,522, so the full amount goes to lower and middle-income retirees. That's credit 1, claimed in full. 4 more to go, including a specific move involving your RRSP that can create an entirely new $2,000 credit almost out of nowhere. Before we get to that RRSP trick, here's something worth knowing if you're married or have a common law partner. There's a completely separate strategy available to couples that can be worth even more than the age amount on its own, and it directly connects to something we've covered on this channel before, the OAS clawback. We'll walk through exactly how that works with a real example in a few minutes, too. For now, just know this. If you're single, some of what's coming applies differently to you, and we'll flag that clearly when we get there. Here's the one most Canadians have genuinely never heard of, and it's the single most valuable tip in this video. There's a credit called the pension income amount, worth up to $2,000 in tax credit value. The catch is that RRSP withdrawals don't qualify for it. Only pension income does, and specifically, RRIF income counts, but a straight RRSP withdrawal does not. Here's the move. If you're 65 or older and you don't have a workplace pension, you can voluntarily convert as little as $2,000 of your RRSP into a RRIF, and then withdraw from that RRIF instead of the RRSP directly. The moment that income comes out as RRIF income instead of RRSP income, it qualifies for the pension income amount. You're not creating new income. You're not saving more. You're simply moving the same withdrawal through a different account structure, and that single change unlocks a credit that a straight RRSP withdrawal never would have qualified for. This isn't a loophole in the sense of being risky or aggressive. It's a deliberate feature built into how the credit works, and it exists specifically so retirees without workplace pensions have a way to access this benefit too. Most Canadians simply never learn that the account type matters, not just the dollar amount. Here's the couple strategy we mentioned earlier, and it's genuinely one of the more valuable tools available to retired Canadian couples. If you and your spouse both receive pension income, you're allowed to split up to 50% of eligible pension income between you on your tax returns. The purpose is simple. Instead of one spouse's income sitting in a higher tax bracket while the other's sits mostly unused, splitting evens the two incomes out, which can lower your combined household tax bill. Here's a real-world version of how that plays out. Robert and Maria are a retired couple. Robert's pension income alone was $98,000 a year, close enough to the OAS clawback threshold that he was losing part of his OAS every single year. Maria's income was much lower. By splitting $20,000 of Robert's eligible pension income onto Maria's return, his net income dropped to $78,000, comfortably back under the clawback threshold. That single move recovered $682 in OAS that Robert would otherwise have lost for the year. And that's on top of the separate tax savings from shifting income into Maria's lower bracket. The $682 is just the recovered OAS, before you even count the additional bracket savings. If you're single, this specific strategy doesn't apply to you directly, but it's worth knowing about if you have a spouse, and it's one of the more underused tools available to retired couples in Canada. One more thing worth knowing before we get to the full worked example: a credit tied to medical expenses that most retirees underclaim without realizing it. Hit like if the RRIF trick was new information for you. Here's the last one, and it's worth knowing even though it isn't technically age-restricted the way the age amount is. The medical expense tax credit lets you claim eligible medical expenses above a threshold, specifically whichever is lower, 3% of your net income or $2,759. For most retirees, that means anything above roughly $2,759 in eligible medical expenses starts counting toward this credit. It becomes considerably more valuable at 65 simply because medical costs tend to rise with age. More prescriptions, more specialist visits, more mobility aids and equipment. This one requires actually tracking your receipts throughout the year. Prescriptions, dental work, vision care, hearing aid batteries, and other eligible expenses all count, and a lot of retirees underclaim simply because they never kept the paperwork organized. If you're not currently keeping a running folder of medical receipts, this is worth starting today, not next tax season. There's also a separate credit worth being aware of if you're renovating your home for accessibility reasons: a stair lift, a walk-in shower, widened doorways, called the Home Accessibility Tax Credit. It's available federally, and some provinces, including British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and New Brunswick, have their own additional renovation credits on top of it. Ontario previously had a similar provincial credit that has since expired, so check what's currently available in your specific province before assuming a provincial top-up applies to you. Here's what all of this actually looked like for one real profile. Margaret, 66, living in Ontario, with a net income of $42,000 and about $5,200 in medical expenses for the year, including hearing aid batteries. Her age amount claim, federal and Ontario combined, put $1,668 back on her return. Converting a small portion of her RRSP to an RRIF and drawing from that instead unlocked $401 through the pension income amount, federal and provincial combined. Her medical expense tax credit, once she added up her prescriptions, dental work, and hearing aid batteries, added $790 more. Combined, $2,859. That number is specific to Margaret's income, her province, and her actual expenses for that year. It's not a guaranteed number for every retiree, and your own total will depend entirely on your specific numbers. But it shows what's actually available when these credits are claimed properly instead of missed entirely, which is what happens to a lot of Canadian seniors every single year. None of these credits require anything complicated. They require knowing they exist, and in the case of the RRIF trick, knowing that a small structural change to how you withdraw money can unlock a credit that wouldn't otherwise apply. If you're 65 or approaching it, this is worth a real conversation with a tax professional before your next filing. Not to find something aggressive, just to make sure you're claiming everything you're actually entitled to. If Robert and Maria's story caught your attention, we've covered the OAS clawback in detail on this channel before, exactly how it works and what triggers it beyond just pension splitting. Worth watching if you want the full picture. Subscribe to The Wealth Beaver so you don't miss what comes next.